Mr. Cockatoo. Please don't let me hold you up any further.
Thank you, Mr. Camel. Now, I don't expect any of you to understand what I'm about to tell you right away, but I do believe it will all make sense to you one day, just as it has for the rest of us who've learned about it before.
We're all ears, Teach, so you just go right ahead, mate.
Thank you, Mrs. Eagle. Now, the first 6 of the 10 worlds are hell, hunger, animality, anger, tranquility and rapture. And these 6 worlds are also known as the 6 lower paths. The lowest one, hell, is often brought about by rage or a need to destroy or hurt others. We can also experience it when we're in pain or feel as though we've failed in some way. Basically speaking, hell is a state of suffering and despair. Hunger is when we desire food, love, sex, fame, fortune, power and so forth. Being greedy is also a state of hunger. Animality is a world of stupidity. It's when we follow our desires and live only for the moment, treading on others to get what we want. Animality is also a state of fearing the strong and standing over the weak. Anger is when we act with selfishness by forcing our opinions or self-centered wishes onto others. It's when we think we're greater than someone else because we're more physically attractive or better educated and so forth. Whenever we allow ourselves to become enraged, we risk cutting ourselves off from our wisdom and self-control. In other words, it's a dangerous state where anything can happen. These 4 worlds also represent the 4 evil paths because they're mainly negative influences in our lives. Tranquility is a world of calmness when we're able to temporarily control our desires through reason and act in harmony with our surroundings. It's also when we enjoy a restful sleep or reach a reasonable conclusion about anything. Rapture is a very short-lived state. It's the momentary joy and excitement we experience when things go perfectly for us. It's the wonderful sensation we enjoy with the first mouthful of cool, crisp water that breaks a long thirst, or the joy we receive when we're unexpectedly presented with a wonderful surprise. When our rapture is based on greed and negativity, as surely as an insect will fly into the flames of a fire, we will always end up in the world of hell. Either by choice or circumstance, many of us spend a lot of time living somewhere within these lower 6 worlds. Our ultimate goal is often only up to the level of rapture.
Bluey now thinks about how so many of the world's religions believe that they will reach an eternal heavenly state of existence in death. He's never believed in it himself, but he can't help comparing it to Gang Gang's explanation of rapture.
The next 3 worlds, learning, realisation and compassion, are also known as the 3 steps. That's because they lead up to the richest and most wonderful condition of all, enlightenment. Learning is when we strive to improve our lives through the knowledge of others who have already learnt before us. In fact, you're already experiencing this world right now as you hear some of the most important things you'll ever need to know. Realisation or becoming aware is similar to learning, except that instead of learning from the lessons of others, we learn from our own observations and experiences, like when we observe the wonders of nature or our hidden potential and so forth. This state is also closely associated with our 7th consciousness. The second highest state is compassion, which is reached when we're able to realise that the true way to self-improvement lies nowhere but in the unselfish act of helping to save others from their suffering. It can sometimes include drawing evil towards oneself while striving to give benefit to others. Enlightenment, as I told you yesterday, exists within the depths of our ninth consciousness. It's neither a stationary condition nor an end-all goal to reach. We can experience it whenever we're able to bring forth the wisdom to understand the true reality of our own life. When this happens, its rich and rewarding qualities are able to filter through all of the other 9 worlds, allowing us to feel confidence and joy. It's a condition that absolutely nothing can corrupt, but it can only ever be reached through acts of compassion. So, there you have it, everybody. The 10 worldly conditions of life. Now, do any of you have any questions at this point?
Yes, I do. How do they all work?
That's a very good question indeed, Mr. Horse. And the answer is they work together. In other words, within each of the 10 worlds is contained the potential for all 10. For instance, someone might find themselves in a state of hell and at the same time have the wisdom or good fortune to get out of it. A perfect example happened to Miss Pig the other day when she was confronted by a snake but escaped unharmed. She would have felt an enormous amount of hell manifest from within her life, followed by a heavenly state of relief. I'm sure Mr. Galah must have also felt wonderfully fulfilled when it was all over. Another point not to be overlooked is the fact that Mr. Galah happened to be available in the right place at the right time. This was also an example of something bad and something good both popping up from Miss Pig's karma at the same time.
Oh, I get ya.
Usually, after someone has survived a close encounter like that, many of the nicer qualities will temporarily rise from within their life. This includes feelings of humility and a sense of lightness like floating on a cloud. It also means that the higher states of life are simultaneously manifesting among the lower states. I suspect Mr. Galah would have been feeling very hellish himself when he was trying to help Miss Pig, but at the same time, because his heart was filled with compassion for her, he was able to bring forth from his ninth consciousness both the wisdom and good fortune he needed to successfully help save her life.
Bluey now compares what Gang Gang is saying with his own life and suddenly realises that he's been living most of it in the lower 6 worlds. His main objective has been based on reaching the state of rapture, but in all the worst possible ways. Because he was dealt such a rotten hand in life, he's always believed that the world hates him. He's never even considered there's such a thing as enlightenment, let alone sought it. Now he's finally realising he's been fooled by his negative karma into being his own worst enemy. It's not something that's easy for him to accept, and he knows very little about compassion, but he's yearning to experience it.